The sun was just beginning to rise over the city, painting the sky in shades of pink and orange. For most people, this was a time for sleep. But for Elena, it was the start of a very long day. Elena was 21 years old. She was a student at the city university, studying to become a teacher. She was smart and hardworking, but her life was not easy. 2 years ago, her mother had passed away. Since then, everything had changed. Her father, once a kind man, had turned to alcohol to forget his sadness. Now, he spent his days drinking and his nights sleeping on the sofa. He didn't work, and he certainly didn't help Elena with her tuition fees. To pay for her classes and buy food, Elena worked at the Golden Bean, a small, busy cafe in the center of town. Elena arrived at the cafe at 6 a.m. Her back ached from studying late the night before, but she put on her green apron and a tired smile. "Good morning, Elena," said Marco, the owner of the cafe. "It's going to be a busy Tuesday." "I'm ready," Elena replied, though she felt anything but ready. By 10 a.m., the cafe was full of people. The air smelled of roasted coffee and fresh croissants. Elena moved quickly between the tables, clearing plates and taking orders. She was exhausted. Between her heavy university books and the 8-hour shifts at the cafe, she barely had time to breathe. Then, a group of 3 men walked in. They were loud and smelled of cheap cigarettes. They sat at a corner table and shouted for service. "Hey girl, come here," one of them yelled. He was a large man with a red face and an unkind look in his eyes. Elena walked over, her notebook ready. "Good morning. What can I get for you?" The man didn't look at the menu. Instead, he looked Elena up and down. "Forget the coffee. What are you doing after work? A pretty girl like you shouldn't be wasting time in a place like this." Elena felt her face turn red. "I'm just here to take your order, sir. Would you like coffee or tea?" The man's friends laughed. "She's feisty," one said. The red-faced man reached out and grabbed Elena's wrist. His grip was tight and painful. "Don't be cold, sweetheart. Why don't you sit down and talk to us?" "Please let go," Elena said, her voice trembling. "You're hurting me." The cafe went quiet. People looked away, too afraid to get involved. Elena felt a tear sting her eye. She felt small and alone. Suddenly, a calm, deep voice broke the silence. "She asked you to let go." A man was standing by the table. He was tall, wearing a well-fitted navy blue suit. He looked like he had just come from a business meeting, but his eyes were sharp and focused on the bully's hand. The red-faced man laughed. "Mind your own business, pal. We're just having some fun." "It isn't fun for her," the stranger said. He stepped closer. His presence was commanding. "Release her hand. Now." The bully sneered, but looking at the stranger's broad shoulders and steady gaze, he felt a flicker of fear. He let go of Elena's wrist so fast it hit the table. "Get out," the stranger said quietly, "and don't come back to this cafe." The 3 men grumbled, but they saw that the stranger wasn't moving. They stood up, threw some crumpled bills on the table, and hurried out the door. Elena leaned against a chair, her heart racing. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you so much." The stranger's expression softened instantly. "Are you okay? Did he hurt you?" "I'm fine," she lied, rubbing her red wrist. "Just shaken." "I'm Liam," he said, offering a hand, not to grab hers, but to steady her. And I think you need a seat and a glass of water more than I need my espresso. Over the next few weeks, Liam became a regular at the cafe. He always sat at the same small table in the corner. He didn't demand attention. He just watched over Elena. Sometimes they would talk for a few minutes during her break. Elena told him about her studies, her love for books, and eventually, she told him about her mother and her father's struggle with alcohol. She told him how hard it was to keep her head above water. Liam listened. He didn't pity her, he admired her. "You shouldn't have to work this hard just to learn," Liam said one afternoon. "You're exhausted, Elena. I can see it in your eyes." "I don't have a choice, Liam," she said sadly. "If I don't work, I can't study. And if I don't study, I'll never leave that house." Liam smiled, a mysterious, kind smile. "I might be able to help. I run a research firm. We need someone to manage our library and organize digital files. It's quiet. You can sit down, and the pay is much better than here." Elena gasped. "But I don't have experience." "You have discipline," Liam replied. "That's more important." Elena took the job. It was a dream come true. Instead of running between tables for 10 miles a day, she sat in a beautiful, quiet office. She had a desk of her own. For the first time in years, her feet didn't ache at night. Liam was a wonderful boss, but he was more than that. He became her support system. When she had a big exam, he would leave a chocolate bar and a good luck note on her desk. When she was sad about her father, Liam would take her for a walk in the park and just listen. One evening, after the office had closed, they stood by the window watching the city lights. "Why are you doing all this for me?" Elena asked softly. Liam turned to her. He reached out and gently tucked his stray hair behind her ear. "Because from the moment I saw you in that cafe, I knew you were special. You have so much strength, Elena. I just wanted to be the person who could give you a place to rest." He leaned in and kissed her forehead. "I love you, Elena." "I love you too, Liam," she whispered. 2 years later, the bells of a small chapel rang out happily. Elena was no longer the tired girl in the green apron. She was a university graduate, a qualified teacher, and today a bride. She looked beautiful in a simple white lace dress. Her father, who had finally started attending support meetings with Liam's encouragement, walked her down the aisle with tears in his eyes. Liam stood at the altar, looking at her with the same protective, loving gaze he had the day they met. They got married surrounded by friends and flowers. Liam had found her a job that allowed her to finish her studies, but more importantly, he had given her a home where she was safe and cherished. As they danced for the first time as husband and wife, Elena realized that the dark days of the cafe were over. She had found her protector, her partner, and her best friend. The golden bean was just a memory now, a memory of the day her life truly began.